Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's version of Tiara Talks. I'm Beth Ruske, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my esteemed colleague and partner,
Alison Miller. Hi,
Dr.
everyone.
Alison Miller. Great, Alison. Thank you. Today, we are going to be talking about environmental optimization. I think we might get the award for like the coolest, consultant slang word, environmental optimization. Alison, when I say that word, and I know this is something you've been working on for probably 2 years now. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think it's important to realize that our environment is having a much bigger impact on us than we realize. It's having an enormous impact on how we move through our day, our ability to focus and concentrate and be productive, to prioritize, to know what we're working on, and absolutely on our stress level. And so we don't have a lot of control. We have some influence, but we don't have complete control over our internal environment. We have thoughts that don't feel good, and we still think them anyway. We can have emotions that we feel like they're lodged in our body for the day, or feeling stressed that we can't immediately just mitigate.
Right.
But where we do have a lot of influence and actually to some extent some degrees of control is our environment set up for us in a way that we can actually function well and work well, and also unplug well? Do we have an environment that's optimized for both, effective, focused, efficient, ways of working and leading, and an environment that's also designed and optimized for us to be able to unplug and pull out and do the genuine restorative recharging that is necessary to lead well?
Yeah, I think speaking of environment, normally I don't take these calls from my outdoor patio, but today it was one of those days where I felt the urge to be outside. It's a beautiful day, trying to bask in it, and so I think that's a great example of environmental optimization, because what could I control? I could control, instead of me sitting in my office right over there through the glass doors, staring at the beautiful outdoor, I was able to come outdoor. Now I can't control the landscapers or anything else, so hopefully our recording will, will work for us before that takes off. But I think this is a great example of, controlling something you can control and taking advantage of optimizing your environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's really because what you're saying is that you're talking about environmental optimization is about really honoring yourself. It's about honoring really the future you that is going to show up to work, that you've already set up the environment where it's not chaotic. Your electronic environment, for example, is really easy to navigate. You have a clear folder system. You know where things are. You don't have version control problems. You know your passwords. You've set it up so that when it's time to work, you can actually work, right?
Yeah. You also said something when we were talking a little earlier this morning
That's
about
my daughter on in the video. I'm recording this, my love.
so yeah, things you can control, things you can't. But also you mentioned something about being in contact with the present moment, like how important that is as a way to help us keep this optimization focus.
Yeah, you really need to have a sense of what you really actually are going to need, and how your environment how it impacts you.
Yeah.
And starting to, I would say, be honest and take inventory and notice what's the impact of this environment on me. And by the way, whenever you feel like you're really not producing results, you're not working effectively, you're procrastinating a lot, things aren't going well, very likely there are things happening in your environment that are creating an interference for you that until they get handled, no matter how much willpower or how much you try to muscle your way through your day, it's an uphill climb because your environment is not optimized. And a lot of times also we desire to take care of ourselves and to unplug and relax, but we don't actually have an environment that invites us into doing
Yeah.
that we can let go.
So I know the environment, the space, the table, the electronics, what you're focusing on, all these things come together. And I think for me, these last couple of weeks, I have truly felt overwhelmed with some projects. And it's not like, oh, so busy. It's just the magnitude of the program, the projects were so big that I was leading, um, and I was having a very difficult time focusing. I mean, I'd go for my walks. So I'd go for a long walk, an hour walk, whatever. And I'm not listening to anything. And my mind would just kind of, spin a little bit on it. And I never felt like I was getting anywhere. And then, so this contact with the present moment and focus is where I'm going, because I started a different type of mindfulness practice about 2 weeks ago. And of course, I don't think it's any coincidence that all of a sudden my productivity has completely started to shift you know
Mm.
and so I know, yes, I cleaned up my space. I have, I'm a post-it note queen, from big post-it notes to little post-it notes, right? I had post-it notes all over my desk, and one of the first things I did when I sat down at my desk was, okay, I need to organize this in a way that makes sense. I do use post-it notes. That is a system that works for me, but how, because this is not, the fear
Yeah.
of a wind blowing all over my desk or somebody cleaning my desk on me would have been, you know just heart, like a nightmare. So
Right,
I think
right.
this contact with the present moment is so important.
Well, it's that's the purpose of the optimization, is that you are there. You are like, oh, I'm here doing this, and that I can, for example, work on one thing at a time. We are a multitasking kind of culture largely, and contact with the present moment really requires an ability to monotask.
That's a
And it's
great
very
phrase.
difficult to monotask when there's chaos in the environment. We need to really think about, we're nurturing and supporting our future selves
Yeah.
by doing things each day to make our environment work for the future you, right? That's going to show up to work.
Yeah. I love that phrase, monotasking. I'd even say monotasking with grace,
Mm.
because as you point out, it's not always easy to do. Like, something's going to, catch our eye. We're going to lose that train of thought, but being able to really continue to, come back to that. As we wrap up here, let's talk about a couple things that we just let's get practical. What are some of the things we do that actually help us to, optimize our environment, to monotask, to, be in contact with the present moment?
Well, one thing that I recommend to people is keep like a special little narrow pad of paper if you can, like on your desk. It doesn't take up much room. And whenever you feel yourself, you notice you're multitasking, you notice you have an email open and you forgot about it. Now you're off on something else. That's a time to just drop down into, let me make like a list of micro tasks, small things to do. And then you practice monotasking. It's a practice acting as if each item on that list is the only thing in the world. Cross it off and move to the next one. It's actually deeply satisfying.
Yeah.
And I also would encourage people to think about, what are some of the behaviors that you want to be engaging in, right? So I have this aspiration that I want to drink lemon or lime water every morning, but I don't have the motivation to do that necessarily in a given day. So it is a 7-day a week habit for me now that at night I get out the glass, the lemon or the lime, the knife, and I have everything ready. So I already started the behavior the night
That's
before.
great.
And now I am like, I do it. It's rare that I miss a day because of that environmental
Structure.
optimization that I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I love that. I think I would just add before we wrap up, one of the things that I find that really helps me, especially when I'm in a bit of a swirl or whatever, and I'm trying to get that monotask mentality, is I put on some soothing music. Music that just, sometimes I have to strap myself into my seat, literally and figuratively, and the music helps me. It's just playing in the background. I put a long, Pachelbel's Canon is one of my, favorite, songs. And, I just, the instrumental behind it, and I just let it play and play and play. And it's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
It's
thanks
great.
for chatting today. This is great. If you like these Tiara Talks, there are more on our YouTube channel. There's more that we post on Facebook. Join us each week. There's something new that we talk about. Take care now.